So today I'm here to talk about all the books that I want to read before the end of 2020. Instead of doing a TBR every single month for the rest of the year, I'm just going to do one quarterly TBR. So this will be for the months of October, November, and December. I'm pulling back the quantity of books that I'm reading each month because I'm trying to focus on some of the longer fantasies on my shelf and some of the just longer books in general. So I don't really want to do like a bunch of videos with only 3 or 4 books on them, so I figured why not just do one books I want to read before the end of the year, and this will suffice for my TBR for the next few months. I have 13 books on this pile, and this doesn't mean that these are the only books I'm going to read, but these are definitely the ones I'm going to be prioritizing. I might throw in a book here or there if I've completed my goal early, but as of right now, these are the books I'm going to be prioritizing. I have them divided up by genre, so we'll go in that order. So I've kind of slowed down my reading of nonfiction the last month or so, the last month or two, so I'm only picking one nonfiction book for the rest of the year, and that is Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram Kendi. This is a history of racism and the slave trade. I started this book on audio back in June, I believe, and it got checked back to the library before I could finish it. I got a good portion of the way through it and I was really enjoying it, and I wanted to have a physical copy because there were so many parts where I really wanted to highlight and mark it up. So I'm planning on listening to the audiobook but then marking this one up as I go. I have another hold on the library, but it still hasn't come out from it. There's a long list of people who are really wanting to read this book, but I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one. Then going into the fantasy books, I've got 2 YA fantasy that I would like to read. I have The Kiss of Deception from Mary E. Pearson. This is the last book on my must-read 2020 list, so if I don't read this before the end of the year, I have to get rid of it. I know this is following 3 perspectives: a princess who's on the run, a prince who is chasing after her, and an assassin who is chasing after her, and the reader doesn't know which one is the prince and which one is the assassin. So I've heard great things about the series. So many people really love this one, but for some reason I just have had the worst time actually getting to it. It sounds intriguing to me, but I just never feel the desire to pick it up. But I will be picking it up before the end of the year and deciding if I'm going to continue on with the series. Then I have Into the Heartless Wood by Joanna Ruth Meyer. This was kindly gifted to me by Page Street Publishing. I am really looking forward to this one. This comes out in January of 2021, and it's following a very mysterious forest which is controlled by an evil queen who has 8 tree siren daughters, and it's about a boy who lives on the edge of the forest and he encounters one of these sirens, and I imagine they have a romance even though it's forbidden and whatnot, but it sounds really cool and I love what this cover is giving off, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one. It sounds like it'll be a great wintertime read. Then going into the adult fantasy I have on this TBR, I've got Joe Abercrombie, The Blade Itself. This is the first book in the First Law series or universe. I am super excited to get into this very expansive book world. There are so many books in this series and in this universe. I'm definitely looking forward to finally getting a go at it. I read the Shattered Sea trilogy by him. I finished it up this year and I absolutely loved that series, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading more from him, and so many of my booktube friends love his work. Really excited to get to this one. This is one of my most anticipated on this list. Then I've got The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan. This is the 4th book in the Wheel of Time series. I am definitely going to be finishing this one by the end of the year. I have been hearing such amazing things about this. I did a video where I talked about my thoughts on the first 3 of the Wheel of Time books. I'll link that up there. I did make a mistake in that I said that there wasn't official pronunciations because that is what I had heard online. However, some of the characters have pronunciation guides in the back of these books, so that was my error. I had read a mass market paperback for my first read of The Eye of the World, and there was no glossary in the back where it said the pronunciations, so I had just assumed, continuing on reading the rest of the books, that there wasn't one because there wasn't in the first book that I read. But I checked back on my new edition that I got, and it does have that, so that is good to know. I will be referring to that going forward. I am hoping to get caught up at least to book, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 by the end of 2021. So definitely going to be picking up my reading of this one. I've been listening to a podcast called The Wheel Reads, which I've been really enjoying. They're doing a chapter by chapter breakdown of the series, and I'm really looking forward to them getting caught up to where I'm at in the series so that I can listen along while I am reading. But as of right now, I'm going back and listening to the old episodes, which is great anyway because I'm recalling a lot of stuff and really solidifying the information into my mind. but definitely looking forward to continuing on with this series. Then I've got a big chunker as well, and that is Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This is a huge book. It is over 1,000 pages. It's the second book in the Stormlight Archive. I read The Way of Kings in September, which I loved. Spoiler for my September wrap-up. Definitely so excited to continue on with the series. The first book had so much potential and is definitely going to be on my all-time favorite books list. So definitely looking forward to continuing on with this series, even though it is so giant. Now moving into my sci-fi reads, I've got one YA book, and that is Quarantine by Lex Thomas. This was on my want to reread for 2020 list. This is a YA book about a high school that suddenly gets like shut down and put into quarantine, and all the adults like suddenly die from this crazy illness. They don't really know what's going on in the outside world. They don't really have any communication. All like telephones and stuff have stopped working. They just know that there's a crazy illness, and I really enjoyed this book when I read it several years ago, and so I wanted to reread it and see if I still would enjoy it, or if it was kind of just towards the more of my beginning exploring different genres that made me really love it. So going to be giving this one another shot, and I'll let you guys know what I think of it. I've been starting so many new series recently, I have to at least continue on with one. So I'll be finishing up the Themis Files, Only Human by Sylvain Neuvel. This is the third and final book. I really liked the second book so much. I enjoyed the first book too, but it wasn't a new favorite or anything like that. But the second book was so good, and I'm really looking forward to continuing on with it. I haven't heard the greatest things about this finale, but I'm excited to have one series that I'm in the middle of marked off my list so I can move on to some of these other series that I'm in the middle of right now. Then I have my most anticipated book of this list, and that is Dark Age by Pierce Brown. I can't even explain to you guys how excited I am to finally get to this. I finally reread Iron Gold, which I'm like completely prepared to go into Dark Age. I don't know if I'm actually prepared, but I am just so excited for this. I am going to be doing a reread of the whole series again in 2021 in anticipation for the sixth and final book. I might be doing a buddy read with Brittany, so stay tuned for that, and maybe you guys would like to join also in doing a read along for Red Rising. But super excited about this one. I cannot wait to find out what happens next. I just can't wait. I'm really sad that we're gonna run out of books soon, but I'm also excited to see what Pierce Brown comes out with after the series, because this one was just impeccable. Now I have one contemporary book, and this is my yearly reread of Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I read this book every single year. I've read it every year for many years, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one. I was able to meet him last year, and it was such an emotional experience for me. I've never gotten emotional meeting an author, but Perks just means so much to me, and it's meant so much to me for so long that it was just very touching to hear him talk about it and stuff. And I got my copy personalized and signed, which was so special, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I'm going to be annotating this and marking it up. I had a previous copy, my original one, that I marked all up, and I gave it to a friend to read, and then they moved away and never gave it back to me, so that was really heartbreaking. But I'm going to be marking up a new copy, so I'm definitely excited to do my yearly reread of this. Then I've got 3 thrillers I'm going to be diving into. The first thriller that I will be reading is a reread, and that is The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. I haven't read this book in so long. I did a binge read of all of his books when I was 16 or 17, and I'm going to go back and like reread a bunch of them and read some of his new stuff, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one. I also just recently listened to a podcast about Ray Rivera. It's a true crime case, but that has me like re-interested in the Da Vinci Code. They started talking about it in that podcast, and it just like made me remember how much I really enjoyed his books when I read them a long time ago. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one. At the time, my favorite book was Deception Point, but we'll see throughout my reread of his stuff if that is still my favorite book or if I enjoy some other ones more. But I'll start with the Da Vinci Code for now. Then I'll be reading An Unwanted Guest by Cherie Lepina. This book sounds so good. I really enjoyed her book, The Couple Next Door. It wasn't great, but it was entertaining. I didn't really like the ending of it, but hopefully I enjoyed this one a little bit more. The atmosphere of this one just sounds so great for winter time. It's about a snowstorm, and people get like snowed in to this inn in the woods, and it says like a well-stocked wine cellar, huge wood-burning fireplaces, opportunities for cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, or just curling up with a good mystery. I'm definitely looking forward to this one. It sounds so great. Really excited about it. Then the last book that I have on my TBR for the end of the year is Every Last Secret by A.R. Torre. This book was sent to me by Megan Beatty Books, so thank you so much to Megan Beatty because she is amazing. I love working with their company. This is following Kat and William Winthrop. They are a very successful family, and when new neighbors move in next door, they start being, friendly neighbors and getting to have a relationship with them. But the neighbor's wife ends up getting a crazy obsession with her husband, and sounds like a great domestic thriller. Really looking forward to reading this one. So thank you so much, Megan Beatty, for sending this one my way. And this one comes out in December as well, so be on the lookout for it. So that will be my whole TBR for the remainder of the year. I'm really looking forward to so many of these books. They have been at the top of my TBR for a long time. If you've read any of these or think I should prioritize certain ones, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on them or convince me to read them sooner. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to like this video down below and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content from me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!